I just think this. I wonder if now everybody's open, after the draft and the excitement and everything, if you want those who are skeptical, and I'm going to raise my hand. I'm not a dream crusher, and I'm not going to say something like Mike Lombardi that's offensive. I am skeptical about whether or not Trey Lance is going to be any good in the NFL. I'm skeptical. But I'm open to being wrong. Is this true the other way? Those of you who are excited about Trey Lance, are you open-minded to the possibility that he's just not good? And this isn't, because injury and because Kyle and because running and because opportunity and because confidence. And are you open? Are you open to the idea that he just not any good at this?
Right now or just period?
Either. I mean, when you go deep into the film of that Raider game, you're looking at somebody who's doing some real non-NFL stuff. That's just a fact. There's no way around that. Now, I'm not going to destroy someone off of one game. As you said, I was very skeptical before the Raider game. But I just wonder if everybody's open to that. It's because he was drafted number 3 overall, I feel like some people use the baseline of, well, he's very good. So if this isn't going well, then it's somebody's tools aren't working right in practice.
And I think another part of that is the reputation of Kyle Shanahan. Like, okay. I think that's where some of this does get back to, hey, Kyle, if you're the genius, if you're the quarterback guru, and I think it was interesting, JT, I can't remember the exact term that he used, but he was trying to explain why it would be beneficial for Trey, and he said, Kyle, the quarterback guru versus offensive designer or something like that. But it's because I think he is the quarterback thing. I don't know, like it's a little bit iffy. I think more iffy. But if you are that guy with the quarterbacks, Kyle, why can't you coach this guy up? And I get what you're saying, but I get what you're saying as to, well, maybe he just isn't good.
I mean, maybe we've labeled this wrong. I don't know that Kyle Shanahan should be called this QB whisperer. He's a play calling whisperer.
Offensive designer.
His
something
design
like that.
is very, very forward-thinking and very, very effective, and it makes the quarterbacks he has usually perform better than they have in other systems. I don't know if anybody has ever mistaken Kyle for a guy that can walk into a room of 1,000 people and go, that's the quarterback. That's the good one right there. That's totally different. And maybe we've done a bad job of saying that too much. You know, like him being able to look across the room. Again, these things are on his resume. Didn't draft Mahomes and did draft Trey Lance and C.J. Beathard and the whole experience, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins. I don't know that we need to call Kyle that. The assessment of a draft value of a quarterback. What I will say is when the quarterbacks are with him, they usually perform better than they perform anywhere else.
Yes. Why can't you get it out of him, though?
How do we know he's not?
Fair.
Maybe he goes to a different team and looks even worse.
Also possible.
I don't know.
Also possible.
You know what I mean?
But it just, I think, but to go back to the reason I brought that up, I do think that's where the conversation starts as far as, well, why are you unwilling to accept that he might not be good? Well, part of it is, it's like, look, dude, you got all this talent and you're a freaking genius. Like, this kid's got the tools.
This kind of makes it worse.
Why can't it?
This is actually, doesn't this go into trade value? If I'm a GM around the league and I respect Kyle Shanahan's offense the way I think most GMs do, and I'm watching Trey Lance and I go, well, this is how he looks with the Niners? How's he going to look on the Titans? How's he going to look on the Bucks? Jeez. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm picturing it as you're saying it.
Right.
YouTube and Twitch could see it. I'm like visualizing it.
Yeah. Gary and Martinez with Willard and JD. Hey, Gary, what you doing?
Hey, guys. Just cruising down the freeway. Listen to you guys. I love your points. And, I mean, we got to be skeptical of these guys, obviously. But, we got two guys in the same boat. with Lance and Darnold, and I don't really care who becomes the 2 or the 3. The most important thing I'm thinking of is what's that quarterback room going to look like? Are they going to, because, I wish that, hopefully they're getting along, they're encouraging each other, and everybody's got each other's backs, and, that's a good thing because, with these young quarterbacks, everybody talks about, in the NFL and the NBA, sometimes it takes a little while till they get that ding moment and they kind of get it. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully there's no animosity in there, and hopefully they're all working together and trying to get better because that'd be, a great thing, the 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. Gary, thanks. I mean, you're there every day. My perception is that everything has been absolutely, totally supportive. Mm-hmm. People having one another's backs, no issue there.
No, they've got a great room by all intents and purposes. They've been supportive of Brock. Darnold's come in and he's kind of just a quiet, want to get to work kind of a guy. And I think Trey's been respectful. Like everybody's been respectful of Trey. Trey's been respectful of everybody else in some pretty difficult circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from how we got here and all of the different reasons and what bad luck, injury, whatever, I mean, Trey does carry himself very well, I think. Does seem a little down. I don't like being overanalyzed. I don't like overanalyzing that, but
well, I mean, the questions he's got to ask every day. If I were Trey, I would puke before I got to the media room every day. It's got to suck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
everybody's sort of looking at him like
it wouldn't be fun.
No, the only question you can ask sounds probably so patronizing to him. You know what I mean? So, is this like you were a 1 and now you might not even be the 2. So how's that feel? Well, not good. I don't know. I will say this. You talk about the locker room and relationships and whatnot. And you and I earlier were talking all about kind of the 3 teams and, who's authentic and genuine. We were talking about the Gabe Kapler thing and and Kapler talking after the game today and kind of getting into it with a reporter a little bit. I would say of those 3 guys we talked about, Kapler, Shanahan, and Steve Kerr, Shanahan is absolutely, easily the most well-liked by his team. I think the Warriors love Steve Kerr, but I think there are some specific relationships that were bumpy.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole, sometimes Draymond. It's Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah. I would say the right players like Steve.
Yeah. But Zach Littell, Alex Wood, whatever your perception, you said earlier you're surprised there hasn't been more of that.
I really am.
And I agree with you. Have you ever heard of anything with Kyle?
I'm cycling through. No, not really.
Yeah. I think they think he's the man. I really do.
Well, he puts them in position to win a lot. And when they weren't winning, they weren't supposed to win, so it didn't matter. Like the first year, nobody thought they were going to win. It was a tear down of the roster, shuffle in. Remember, they signed a bunch of good dudes to come in from Juszczyk and Robbie Gold and Pierre Garçon and but just positive guys. Hey, we're going to suck. We're going to bring in a bunch of positive guys that are cool with it. Like, that's the one thing, hey, we're not very good, but we got a bunch of positivity in the room.
You said earlier that Farhan, you think it's part of their deal, like to bring in the right. Like,
I think they try to do that.
I think the Niners do too.
Yes.
I don't think the Warriors do. The Warriors are like, Chris Paul, come on. You coaching? No, I'm just that's. I do think the Niners want, as they put it one time years ago, no knuckleheads. I think they want no knuckleheads.
I agree with that. I got a little hung up on the Chris Paul because it's like I mean, man,
I've gotten myself to the point where I can't wait.
Well, I can't either.
But not in the way that I normally can't wait. Not because I think they're going to win a title, because I'm like, I got to see this.
Yeah,
I got to see Draymond and Chris Paul on the same floor together.
It's going to be a sight. It really is, and we'll see what happens with it. I just kind of lost myself there for a second, thinking about the other players and that they have brought. Some of the younger players. It's like really who we talking? We're really talking about Kuminga. I mean, at this point, because Poole's gone,
all eyes are
we're
there.
really talking about Kuminga.
We're talking about Yeah. Moody's
fine.
He's fine.
Like Moody.
Yeah.
Moody's fine. The veterans are fine. Sure, Draymond and Kerr have had for Draymond and Kerr to have gone through everything that they've gone through, and for Steve Kerr, 5 minutes after they get eliminated, to be like, bringing them back. We're bringing everybody back.
Yeah.
We want to. This group's got it. That. Nothing to see there.
Dublin Marge on YouTube just brought up Jimmy Ward and sort of references. I don't think Jimmy Ward was a knucklehead at all. Says that's why I think Ward is gone. He was a knucklehead. I don't think that. I don't think the 49ers thought that at all.
No, he's a good guy. They love Jimmy Ward.
And he was a phenomenal player.
It just got weird with the position switch.
If you want to bring up an example of somebody who was frustrated with Kyle, that's a good one. I think last year he was. Absolutely. He was frustrated.
And Jimmy Garoppolo at the end, I think.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Because I think Jimmy thought he was gone.
He was. He was supposed to be.
And then he was back. And I'll be honest. I mean, you guys talked about this. I'm not saying anything new, but
gosh.
Jimmy had when Jimmy came back, there was a bleep it to Jimmy. Like, hey, I'm back. Y'all didn't want me. I don't give a rip what I'm just playing. And
let it
it'll
rip.
be good. It'll be bad.
Well, he was definitely going to be gone the year after.
Yeah, it was just...
They changed the contract where it was like, right, you cannot do it like I am gone after this.
But there was just don't blame me.
Yeah.
Well,
the pressure's gone. The stress is gone. The constraints are totally gone.
Don't blame me. Don't expect me to come back. Don't.
I'm not going to text you.
Yeah, right.
Let's go to Carlos on 880. Hey, Carlos, you're on with Willard and JD. What you doing?
I'm just driving home from work. A long day of work.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for taking my call.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I just want to bring up an interesting point. My brother and I were conversating about kind of what you guys touched on a little bit ago about how Shanahan is a offensive play, genius. So, what if it's not so much the QB's team as it is Christian McCaffrey's team now? Because when that man is on the field, it just turns into it's a nightmare when he's on there. You're always thinking, keeping track of where he's at. So what if it's really just his team now as opposed to the QB's? I understand the QB is number one, but...
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I'm trying to, as you're talking, Carlos, my mind's going around the league, and because I'm one of these believers, like Dibbs always says this, Brock Purdy might be the seventh best player on his own offense. And I'm like, no, because he's the quarterback. So by definition, he is the most important player on the field. He's the one with the ball in his hands on every single play. But are there any other NFL teams where emotionally, from a conceptual standpoint, it's not the quarterback's team? Even the quarterbacks who aren't that great. Do you know what I mean? Here's the first example that popped to mind because it's the Niners' first opponent. Pickett it does not have some great resume in the league, but I don't think there's anybody else on that team that's it's their team. It's not Najee Harris's team.
No,
it's not George
TJ
Pickens'
Watt's team.
Well, but that's on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, but the way I always think of it, though, is who goes on the marquee. If you're putting the marquee for that game up,
that's interesting.
It's probably Christian McCaffrey and TJ Watt. If this is the marquee, that's going on the side of the board for that game. I know it's a morning game out here, but
when it comes time to score points, is the team going, okay, Christian?
Yeah, I think
lead us down the field.
I think so.
I'm not saying
I think
no.
they are.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they are.
Is there look at anybody else
he is. I don't want to say the only, but he's the superstar of their offense.
Derrick Henry.
Christian McCaffrey is the 49ers superstar. You can say
agreed.
And the fact and how well they played after he came over. Because we would always have this debate. Oh, Kittle's elite and Debo's this and Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey's a cut above all of them.
Derrick Henry's the only other name that comes to mind where you look at an offense and you're like, that offense is more based on not what the quarterback does. But I'm looking at every team. I don't think there's any other player in the league who would say on offense, some people might say Saquon is more important than Daniel Jones. I don't really agree with that. But is there any other team in the league where a running back or a receiver, I get, Justin Jefferson, but you got Cousins. That's a real player. I don't know, man. I don't know. I get where you're coming from.
Like, who's the 49ers' best player?
Yeah. Well, on offense, McCaffrey.
It's McCaffrey or Bosa.
McCaffrey's the best player.
It's McCaffrey or Bosa.
But is it his team?
Huh?
That's
I think it's McCaffrey's team.
Like the voice,
I really do.
But the voice in the huddle, It's
Brock and Kyle.
And Farhan. You know that he's just texting everybody what to do.
No, they already know because they're that well prepared, even for press conferences.
Obviously.
Most of the time.
He
doesn't have to read the iPad because he's studied it for, while he's eating his burger.